impact a huge portion of the day, but just a few quick early morning showers. Really, most of the day has been fairly cloudy for us, and that has kept temperatures in the 60s for us here in Augusta. We're still close to 68 at Bushfield. Haven't really seen much of a wind factor, not overly breezy, fairly calm most of the day, but just a quick look outside. You can see from our studio camera here pointed towards I-20 that eastbound traffic just a little backed up and congested. So a heads up if your commute does take you that way. As for eastbound traffic, you should be heading westbound, heading towards Evans. They got Rockford Doe happening tonight, and Cole Swindell is going to be the headliner, and he should start a little bit after 9 o'clock later this evening. So if you still want to see him, there's still a couple of hours to get out there, and they're actually going to have a DJ that does happen after Cole Swindell's performance. So a lot of fun out there at Evans Town Center Park at the Lady A. So nice, comfortable conditions. Temps will be in the 60s this evening, and likely just going to hang on to some cloudy skies. But luckily, not much rain in store tonight. That is the good news. And rain does look minimal heading into tomorrow. So for the par 3 contest, that's going to start at noontime. Still a few clouds around, but temperatures should be warmer than today, most likely hitting the upper 70s. So very comfortable if you are heading out to Augusta National tomorrow. And tomorrow morning, not going to be too cold out there. We should see temps near 60 right around daybreak Wednesday. The real focus is Thursday. Right now, we do have a first alert in effect for a very strong system that's going to push through, bring us some thunderstorms in the morning. So that will bring us some heavy rain, some lightning, and also some very windy conditions even away from thunderstorms. So sustained winds getting close to 20 miles an hour during the day, and we'll likely see gusts 30 to 40 with just gradient winds. So a very impressive system on the way. High pressure has been in control the past few. That's kept us nice and quiet, but that is going to be retreating, and that's going to open up the gates for this next system to move our way. So luckily Wednesday still does look dry, so once again looking good for the par 3 contest tomorrow. Could actually see a little bit of sun at times for our Wednesday afternoon. This rain is expected to start around midnight tomorrow, so heading into early Thursday morning, that is just going to continue up until daybreak, and that rain does look very heavy at times, and along with this is going to be the lightning risk, so that could delay play at Augusta National for that first round. And then behind all this is still going to be some very windy conditions. Even though we may be mostly dry Thursday afternoon, still expecting those gusts to be 30 to 40 miles an hour, so will impact play for that first round. Heading into Friday, we'll be on the backside of the system. Luckily, nice sunny conditions expected Friday into the weekend. The only thing is Friday, we are still going to be very gusty throughout the day and likely could see gusts 30 plus into our Friday afternoon. So a couple of different hazards that we're looking at, which is why we have put out a first alert. Just want to make sure you are paying attention to the forecast Thursday. Heavy rain, 1 to 2 inches, possibly southern CSRA counties could see 2 to 3 inches. That's likely where we would see those minor flooding issues. Everybody should be placed underneath a lake wind advisory, at least along the Savannah River up towards Clarks Hill. And right now the severe weather threat appears low for us. I would imagine the Storm Prediction Center does adjust their severe weather outlook and show that our threat has lowered from thinking yesterday. So want to show you the flash flood risk. That's a slight to marginal threat. So our western counties are at a little bit higher risk compared to us here at Augusta, but just can't rule out our flood prone areas. We are going to see some heavy rain at times with these downpours and storms. So definitely could be enough to just create some minor headaches. Here's a look at our rain totals. So our in-house model showing a good swath of 2 to 3 inches across the southern CSRA, and that will fall over several hours. So luckily not just happening in one or 2 hours. This will kind of be spread out, so it should be manageable for the most part, but still nonetheless some intense rain at times. Rain rates definitely over 1 inch per hour with some of those storms, so could cause some impacts for low-lying, poor drainage areas. This is another hazard. The wind threat definitely going to be with us. So really all day long Thursday, starting early in the morning, we're going to see those gusts over 30 miles an hour, and that will continue into our Friday. Looks like it's mainly going to be Friday afternoon that's gusty. Early in the morning, those gusts should be less than 20 until we get to around the lunch hour, but still enough will impact those later tea times heading into our Friday. Here's our weekend outlook. Mid-70s Saturday, mid-80s Sunday. Really one of the nicer final rounds of the Masters that we have seen in several years' time. I was just looking back at Masters last year, and last round, Saturday round, that round 3, we stayed in the 40s all day long, and it really had an impact on a lot of players. Tiger actually had to withdraw after the weather was just so horrible during that day, just cold and miserable. Luckily this year, not going to be a factor. We're expecting sunny skies Saturday, partly cloudy skies Sunday, and staying dry through the weekend. So that is good news with some fairly comfortable temps, especially for that final day with highs hitting the 80s. Now, with the sunshine returning late into the week, remember our UV index will be going back up. So if you are in town, make sure you are protecting yourself from the sun. Our sun angle is getting kind of intense this time of year. We're starting to get definitely a better opportunity to get that sunburn. So make sure you are protecting yourself and have that sun gear close by. I want to take a look at the severe weather threat before I show you that 7-day. Let me pull it up for you real quick because I don't want to ignore it, but with the latest model guidance we're looking at, been kind of conversing with the National Weather Service as well. We're just not completely sold that this is going to be a severe weather setup for us here locally. A lot of times these systems, they get going west of us and then they just kind of stay confined to the Gulf Coast, and that's kind of what we're expecting and anticipating to happen out there tomorrow. So, or not tomorrow, but Thursday. So positive news in that sense, but still nothing that we want to necessarily ignore by any means. But let's see if I can pull this up. Here we go. So this is our severe weather outlook for Thursday. You can see we are included in a slight risk. Usually when we're included in a slight risk, that does mean that we're anticipating scattered severe weather reports in the way of damaging straight line winds and potentially even a few isolated tornadoes. With our setup, we are expecting those storms to really get going south and west of us, and that should rob that potential for any energy to really reach the CSRA by the time that front does get closer towards us. So not ignoring it. I don't want to necessarily say it's a 0% chance we see severe weather, but with these type setups, it's very difficult for us to see severe storms. There's just not really going to be an opportunity for our atmosphere to rebound and destabilize and have that severe weather threat materialize. So this is kind of a more zoomed in view of what's expected. So I'll just kind of jump this ahead and progress it forward into Thursday. So this initial wave that pushes in around midnight tomorrow, it's just going to bring some heavy rain, maybe some lightning with it. Winds definitely going to be picking up throughout the day. But since this is going to happen late at night, early in the morning, and be non-severe initially, this just helps mixes up our atmosphere and really prevents us from seeing that surface energy from developing, because we really need to have that energy be developing at the surface and be able to lift freely through the atmosphere, and we're just not really going to have a scenario for that to happen since we're expecting all this heavy rain to be passing through in the morning time. Then once that main front shows up, that main lifting mechanism, there's just no real energy to have those storms maintain themselves and keep those updrafts going. So that's why as we get later into the afternoon, you can see our model here actually expecting to see some clearing skies. So that's a big dry slot moving in behind that initial morning wave, and that would also suppress our severe weather threat. So for those reasons, we are still considering that this is going to be a very low severe weather threat for us here locally, but it's something we're going to have to watch. Obviously, that's just one model. Other models do support it, so we do have some model consistency there, but these are just the scenarios to where you're hoping for the best. Do have to prepare for the worst, though, because there's just that off chance storms could get going. But quick look at our 7-day forecast. Once again, that first alert in effect Thursday. We're going to dry out Friday, but it is still going to stay very windy across the area. But luckily, as we roll into the weekend, wind threat will calm down. We'll hang on to generally sunny conditions and should be a really nice end to the Masters this year. So looking forward to that. But with that first alert in effect Thursday, make sure you're keeping it here for updates, and we'll have another update for you coming up on News 1226.